Work is Work, podcast by Vinny T. I put the work in, whole squad be urchin.
All right, another episode. Welcome to the podcast, Work is Work podcast. As always, I'm your host, Vinny T, and as always, I have a guest with me. Just introduce yourself and tell us what you do for work.
I am Ken. I cut hair for a living. I own a shop in Footscray, West Footscray.
And it's called Blunt Barbers.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, you do art, don't you?
Yeah, that's
Like a side hustle?
Yeah, a little bit of that. That's
Just put it closer to your mouth.
Oh yeah. That's always been kind of my thing growing up.
Drawing.
Yeah. That kind of I feel like for myself, it kind of like brought me to where I am in a way.
Like
a
creative sort of
100%.
a let out.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, I think being, I think when you grow up here as a first generation, I think, you know, you didn't really speak the language itself.
Just hold it up too.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
I've never done something like that. Yeah, cool. So I think, you know, growing up, you know, not having much, you know, mates because you didn't really speak the language. I think for me, drawing really spoke a lot for me.
Yeah.
In ways.
It's like almost an outlet.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like my second voice.
Ah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Another way to express yourself.
Yeah. That's what I was known as, to be honest. Like, just like if I was to do anything with art, it would be like, yeah, sweet. I'm gonna try my hardest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's like almost something you don't want to let go because it reminds you of that childhood.
Yeah, well,
it's like almost your own little world.
It was the only thing I was ever good at. You know, I'm also dyslexic, so
okay. Don't know what that means, but
so that means there's a certain part of your brain it registers one side or the other. Okay. So basically, like especially with words and other words, you just find like grammar and spelling and reading and all that sort of stuff really difficult. Okay. Because you focus so much more on the opposite side.
Yeah, so you're more of a visual person, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, that's what I've always said too, like I'm not book smart.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I guess what they call it is street smarts.
Yeah.
Life skills. But okay, cool. So what we do is we kind of start from the beginning. Do you remember your first paid job?
Yeah. I had to think real bad. I think the first time I ever got like accepted as the first actual legitimate job was at Macca's when I was like 9 months or something.
My first job was Macca's too.
Yeah, I think what was the legal age to work there? I think
it was like 14 and 6 months.
6 months or something like that. But, so I did that for a while. I did that for about...
Were you working in the back or the...
In the back. Flipped burgers. Yeah, did you flip burgers?
Yeah, I flipped burgers. I flipped really good burgers.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
I was very proud of myself.
I did good cheese.
Cheeseburgers? Me too.
Cheese. And then back then you could only put 9 patties, yeah?
Yeah, 9 patties.
But you do 12s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
my cheese was always in the middle.
Yeah.
Running man pickles.
My man. Nah, solid. No, I did the fast one. I didn't care about the list of it. I just made sure. I think it was a time thing. I was like,
it was a time thing back then.
Yeah, I still feel like it's a time thing now when it comes to work.
Yeah, it does.
It's hard.
How long were you there for?
About 2 years, I reckon.
2 years?
2 years, yeah. 2 years or at least 15 months.
And
for sure.
I'm assuming, I don't know, but you were still at school at the time?
Yeah. I think you start working around like
year 10.
Year 10.
Yeah, year 10. Same.
Year 10.
My mom's about year 10.
Yeah. About year 10.
So I'm assuming you probably did like 1-2 shifts a week and then school.
Yeah, I really liked it. because you earn some money.
Yeah.
It was the first time you really earned like money through the bank.
Yeah.
You know, but, okay.
Paying taxes.
Yeah, paying taxes, all that sort of stuff. But I think like $6, not even.
Yeah.
Probably $5 I can't even remember, but it was really,
it was really good. I remember Macca's was really good pay.
back then for
back
us. So
for
like,
us,
what was it,
yeah.
like $5-6?
And I remember they were telling me,
good.
yeah, I remember they telling me like, do Macca's first because it's good on your resume.
100%.
Did you remember that?
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
like
if you got Macca's on your resume, it's easy to get your second job.
Yeah,
you moved
pretty
on.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think every kid. Well, the reason why, because it's cheap labor for them. So, but I guess it's a sense
It's like
of
a start.
Well, when you work with other kind of like younger kids.
Yeah,
like,
they're
around
all the
that
same age. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And your first Christmas party with them.
Yeah.
You know, got pretty loose. Yeah, if I remember for like that age, I'm like, yeah, got pretty loose. And the kids that did drive would take all the other kids home, which was a pretty responsible thing.
Yeah.
The managers.
Yeah, the managers.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I enjoyed Macca's. I enjoyed Macca's a lot.
Yeah, same here. I meant for a first job, I think.
For a first job.
Yeah.
Um,
But then you hear kids that, like, if they didn't do Macca's, they would have done Coles.
yeah, it was Coles, Macca's, or Hungry Jack's.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I always thought
maybe KFC.
I always thought the kids that did, like, Coles and like, back then it was Safeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Bilo?
Yeah, that too. Like, it was like, fuck, you knew someone. That's how you got the job. Because, like,
Yeah.
it was really hard to get into that. Yeah, bro. So,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You were like, that's a privileged kid.
Yeah.
Where I think, you know, those fast food places, they just take on anyone.
Do you remember which one? What was it?
Deer Park.
Oh, yeah, I know
Park.
that one.
Yeah. Deer Park. That was...
That's where you grew up? Around that area?
Yeah,
Footscray-ish?
so we came here in 92. So my parents came here in 92. And then we spent pretty much 9 years in Footscray.
Yep.
Yeah, just around the corner from here.
Yep.
And then I did high school basically we moved out to further west, which is Deer Park.
Yep.
And then I did my high school out there. Sounds really deep. Yeah. All right. Cool. Keep it good.
So after Macca's, what'd you do after Macca's? Do you remember?
Man, I worked at Luna Park.
What?
Yeah, making more burgers.
Really?
Yeah, because I worked in the food industry there.
Luna Park.
Luna Park. Yes,
I never
that's
thought
right.
of.
Yeah.
How did you just? All right, I'm going to try here, or
Nah, so I knew. So my friends at school, I don't know how somehow got a job there, working in the food in like area. When you go there, you buy food, and then she just started getting jobs for pretty much everyone. I'm like, oh yeah, hook us up. So I went there, and the gig was you could work anything more than 3 hours,
okay.
and then you can leave.
What?
Yeah, so minimum of 3 hours. So you could just go there and do 3 hours
And leave.
And leave, yeah.
How would they? So if you just leave, how do they replace you? Like,
You just got to let them know.
oh really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
It is really weird because
It's optional, which was really I felt
good.
like, yeah, that's good. And they were paying, man. I think at that time, so I would probably be just started year 12.
yes, 17, 18.
Yeah, I was 17 because
Yeah.
I finished high school when I was 17. Just turned
You finished
17.
high school? Graduated high school?
Yeah, I finished year 12. Yeah. And I think I was getting like $12.
Oof.
Yeah, so that was like a double pay, and you could only just work you could work 3 hours minimal, and then
Was Luna Park, was that open 7 days a week? Am I tripping out? Was it just weekends?
believe it or not, I only worked on the weekends. To be honest, then
I don't
at
know
that
if
point,
they opened during the week.
nah, I couldn't work during the week. I always remember we did the morning shift,
Yeah.
which was like at like 10, and then we finished up at like probably 5.
Yeah.
And then the gig was you keep your pants on, so that it was these purple pants with
There's no options.
yellow lines going through it because it was kind of showed that you worked
the
there.
themed, Luna Park themed,
Pretty much. And then you kept your pants on, and then you could basically utilize the park. So
it's like a membership.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you just kept your pants on, and then
Free,
after work...
is it just free?
Yeah, you just jump on, you cut the line. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you still have those pants?
No. Because you go there and you get a different pants all the time. It's a full hectic business. Like, I coming out of Macca's where it was all based on a shift.
Yeah.
Like, they needed
structure, uniform.
Where here it's like, hey, man,
just
there's
make
food,
sure you got your
food. Legit. So that was really good. And then coming out of Macca's into making Luna Burgers.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Luna Burgers. Yeah. They'll have, oh man, there was one, there was two types of burgers. It was like a kind of quarter pounder.
Yeah.
Size, big burger. And a chicken burger.
Yeah.
But they got it all the way around, man. It was trippy. It was like... normally for making like, let's just say a quarter pounder, you would have like mustard and tomato sauce, where there I think it was like you'll have mayo. It was more like a Whopper.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they would put they would just keep their kind of chicken burger really bland, simple.
Lettuce.
Yeah, and I'm like they didn't have any rules, so I was just making Macca's burgers, Luna Park burgers. Yeah, so I'm like, mate, this is not how it's done.
Yeah,
like,
show them. I've been in the big corporates. This is how it's done.
Yeah, they just care about all right, we've got a party, you just chuck pies in the oven and sausage rolls and...
Carny food,
man. Just fried chips and ice creams, you know.
Yeah.
I put my hat down to ice cream makers and people that serve ice cream, because there's just so many selections, and you've been watched how you roll that fucking sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, swear.
You've been watched how you roll this fucking basically size for them, and then they're looking at you like you can add more, you know.
Oh yeah, because Macca's was really a little bit of this. You can't do more than
that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. So, man, they were leaving with like snow cone ice creams. It was that big. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, well, there you go. That's what happened.
How long were you there for? Do you remember?
Man, to be honest, only a couple of months.
Okay.
And then after that, I got into retail.
Okay.
So I think I was just working at the local shopping centre.
High Point.
Yeah. I worked at Globalize for about...
Globalize?
I think I was there for like 6 months or so.
Yeah. So Globalize is clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like one of those things.
Yeah.
I was just a door kid, man, to be honest. Yep. And they put me in the shoes. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I'm dyslexic. You make me look at numbers.
It's like it's near size 12. He's a 10.
So that was all right.
How'd you get that job? It just transitioned somehow?
Man, I just walked in.
Remember those days you had to...
I just walked in. I wasn't even looking for a job. I was just with my mate.
Oh, really?
And then the manager was like, hey, you want a job, man? I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, and I was like, fuck, man. Like, I got into retail. I was like, fuck, that's all right.
Yeah, it's
for me at that age.
Yeah, from fast food to retail, that's generally how it goes.
Do you know what I mean? And that was like 3 jobs in a year.
Oh, shit.
So it was, I think, it was just one after the other.
Yeah.
And then, man.
How'd you find retail? I liked retail. I sold DVDs.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hated dealing with customers.
Yeah. See, I had to sell pants and shoes and check people's bags.
Oh.
But I didn't mind it, because I think at that age, like, you were like, fuck, okay. Like,
all the cool kids did retail.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. And I look to be... I'm not a cool kid, man. I'm just trying to... Well, look, I think at that age, every kid wants to kind of be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so...
The retail was like the cool kids. And you got discount clothes, I'm assuming, too.
Do you know what? I couldn't ever really afford the clothes, man.
What did you pay? What's that?
My pay was going to my missus.
True.
Oh, shit. But, like, man, yeah. So I think that kind of, like, took me towards the end of the year. year 12.
So you're still in school and you did 3 different jobs by the end
Yes,
of it?
yeah. So I stopped. I stopped Macca's probably at the end of year 11,
Yep.
and then
Luna Park.
Luna Park carried on for a bit.
Yeah. And then retail.
and then retail, and then I kind of just. I remember just like around Christmas time. So basically finishing high school, because I remember doing a Christmas party with them.
With Luna Park?
Yeah, no, with Globalized.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was what I would have been like 17, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So, no, 17. Would have been 17, yeah.
Okay. How long did that go for? Retail?
Probably like three months.
Really?
Yeah, three or 6 months to be honest.
Did you quit or another job?
I think they just couldn't afford. Like they just hired too much people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they just let you go?
Yeah, and it was like based on sales things too. Like I
I
didn't know how to sell shit, man. Like tell you the truth, I was just like, oh yeah, what size do you like? I don't know, man. Customer service is hard. At that point,
It is.
when it hasn't been taught to you what to say and how to do it, you know, they're just kind of like, okay, he's young, just throw him in.
Yeah.
Fucking.
So it was good for me because I love movies, so it's easy to talk to people about movies.
100%.
But just dealing with weirdos.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered. Also, catching the train into the city every day was just...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I had enough.
Yeah. How long were you doing that for?
Retail, I would say 2 years, 2-3 years.
Fuck, see, that's long.
But I had a massive gap between jobs.
Okay.
Work Macca's.
Which one?
Western Ring Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Inbound or outbound?
I think it's the west side, so inbound. I think that's inbound, right?
Coming home
Going
from the
to
city?
Deer Park.
Going to Deer Park. So outbound?
That's outbound? Was that
No,
inbound?
that's outbound. Yeah, because
that's
you're going
outbound. You're going away from the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. That side.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
I
Yeah.
got that job because my sister worked there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same with the retail job. Got
Yeah.
there because my sister worked there as well.
Who do you still talk to from that area?
No one.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. See, the funny thing is, throughout all those line of work, I still cut some of those people's hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I think coming back to the area, like along that line, like you meet, like not even like someone from retail or like someone still from Luna Park.
When did you start studying cutting hair?
Right after, honestly, I had a gap between like 4 months. I just got, what a going on to 18-year-old would do, because I wasn't even 18 when I started hair.
Oh, yeah? So
Yeah.
you pretty much started hair almost straight after school?
Yeah. Do you know what? To be honest, I started hair in 2008.
2008.
Was when I signed up for my apprenticeship. But before that, I was doing 3 months probation. So I started hair, yeah. To be honest, I got right after high school.
Yeah.
Yep, 17.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Well, why'd you pick cutting hair?
Do you know what? I was cutting my mate's hair during high school.
Oh, so that's how it really started?
Pretty much. I think a lot of people that did start hair.
This is what mates in your garage.
Pretty much, because you got the haircut from your mate. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't start, like, I couldn't really, like, hey, man, let me cut your hair. Yeah, like, it's like, my mate decided to cut my hair. It was just the sides.
Yeah.
You know, it was just the sides.
Yeah,
so I was
yeah,
like, cut, sweet. Because back then, we had to, I had long hair then. You had to go get it maintained and shit.
Yeah.
So, there you go. A lot of my money went to my hairdresser at the same time as well.
Oh, really?
At that point, yeah.
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 So hair was pretty early then?
Yeah, I think so. And I realised that through this line of work that, you know, young kids start really caring about their hair at the age of, like, especially boys, man.
Yeah.
Like the age of 8, 7, some even earlier, mate. Some even like 5.
Yeah, it's strange because you did care about your hair sort of, but fuck, there wasn't many barbershops back then.
No.
It wasn't really a big boom.
No.
So you had to go to the local Vietnamese.
It was hard. It was hard. It still is now to find you know, the right person to cut your hair.
Well, that's the thing. I think,
Even though with so much shops now anyway.
It's
you know,
you kind of once you find your person, you have to stick with it. I think that's everyone with hair. Eh?
Yeah, I think as well. I think there was back then there were really good hairdressers.
Yeah,
it was just for my ethnicity.
I would say,
and our background growing up, like our parents just went to the local people that.
Yeah, my mum's friend cut my hair for so long.
There you go. You know,
so long,
I mean?
and but when I talk about barber, it's the fade trend didn't take off until.
Yeah, you're right. It honestly, I think I saw that going into hairdressing.
Yeah.
It really kicked off probably like 2009,
Yeah.
2010. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
But
men's work.
Yeah, men's work
came back around that era.
Yeah.
There was a huge gap. I'll explain that along the way of what I think would
So studying at the time, and then after retail, what was next after retail?
So after retail, so in high school I studied art and food.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted to be a chef. Yeah, that's why I started at Macca's. Took a chance with Luna Park. Because I'm like, sweet as, you know, moving up the ladder. And then all of a sudden, I think, would you say puberty, or would you say kind of like you really cared about you visually at that period? I think, you know, you could say teeny bop it up, you know, like one of that sort of stuff. That's what I considered myself back then at that time.
Yeah, I think I was too.
Yeah,
I was trying to fit in, not knowing that I was trying to fit in.
You're trying to find who you are.
Yeah. But you don't realise that until you're later on. But at the time, you're just like going with the flow.
Yep.
And I think, I don't say culturally, but how you can say, like, it was like, part of me was like, you should be just playing basketball with the white boys. But culturally, well, not culturally, but you should be with the Asians and whatever the Asians are doing, because I am Asian.
You pretty much kind of like fall into that demographic.
Yeah, you do.
You do, man, and people expect you to be like this.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I felt, at the time I didn't feel uncomfortable, but I didn't realise that until I was older, thinking back on it. It's like, oh man, I wasn't even comfortable doing that stuff.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Well, I used to hate being in my skin. I used to hate being Asian. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I know what you mean.
I felt a bit confused because I wasn't born here. I came here when I was 2.
Yeah.
You know, and I found out a little bit later on, you know, my parents like, oh, man, you're born in a refugee camp.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
too.
oh, yeah. See, straight up.
Yeah.
So it didn't really affect me until I got older.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that really played a big impact on me because I think leaving school, I didn't really do good in school.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to read.
Yeah.
You know? I went through high school not knowing how to read or spell. I did everyone's artwork for them.
And they did in return?
Yeah, bro.
Fuck.
You know?
Yeah.
So I had to learn to adapt to a lot of styles. Too,
Yeah.
You know? And so at that age, I think growing up, I had to be adaptable.
Yeah. Same.
You know, and that fucked me, I reckon, too, because it's like, oh man, you know, I didn't hang out with all the fucking Asian kids, or you know what I mean. Or if I did, you know, like, man, I just kind of dived into a little bits and pieces what I thought was, you know, completely opposite of my minority group.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, like I used to break, and you know, not many Asian kids broke. And if it did, it was all the Filipino kids. Like I'm Vietnamese, so you know, for us, it's like, oh shit, you know, it's you're always being judged by like, especially in the Vietnamese culture, like you know, being in Footscray as well. Like, oh, back then, you know, the Vits were either like junkies or like gangs.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, they didn't have that kind of like nostalgia, like.
Didn't really break off to anything.
100%, man. Like everyone's like, oh, you know, like so they just kind of look bad at you.
Yeah,
my dad never really wanted. My parents never really want me to hang out with like Viet kids.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so where my brother did, and he ended up in fucking prison most of his life.
Yeah,
and still trying to get out of the 90s in his head. You know, like.
That was to me it was like it wasn't a weird time, but looking back at it, it was like it's like I'm glad I went through it, and then also like I regret, not really, I want to say regret, but I was using that word, regret that I didn't branch out early enough. It took me a while to go like, oh, this is who I am. I'm comfortable being like I don't say non-typical Asian kind of thing.
That's it. No, and I think it was the line of work that we got ourselves into too. You know, because I wasn't really surrounded by a lot of like, especially I grew up like out of Footscray into Deer Park. Like there wasn't much vet kids out there anyway.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like it was strange. I went to Deer Park.
Yeah, me either. Like it was like, just more of a high school thing for me, I think, because you're there every day with the kids, and then
a lot of Islanders and
like,
Europeans out there, you know.
So we all stuck together for some reason, but it was fun. I wasn't great at anything, but maybe the person who I am today, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
So where are we at?
Pretty much just
school.
Yeah.
Studied hairdressing. Now, hairdressing and barbers, two different things?
Do you know what, man? Hairdressing is, if I could explain it to you, hairdressing would be like a chef. Okay. And barbering would be like a pastry chef.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still, you're still cutting hair.
Yeah.
You're still an artist.
Yeah.
Still, barbering is just particular into men's style hair.
Yeah, and grooming. Yeah.
All that line.
Yeah.
There's specific haircuts that, you know.
So when you went to school, was it hairdressing?
Yep.
Wash hair.
Pretty much. Like
it's
the
mostly
whole
length, girls'
everything,
hairs.
the whole certificate, length, down to texture. You learn much the whole field.
Yeah.
You learn to be a builder, basically, in a way.
Yeah.
You know.
So how long did you go to school for hairdressing?
Man, so my journey with hairdressing took me 5 years to actually start.
Oh, really?
Finishing my apprenticeship,
Yeah.
I started off I was actually, believe it or not, when I finished high school, I did an apprenticeship for chefing.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you still want to be a cook.
Yeah. And then I did 2 weeks of it. And honestly, every day I never dragged my feet after work. I was like, I can't even fucking walk. Like, from like 6 hours of school. Yeah. That's what you did in high school. Yeah. 6.5, I think that's what it is. You sit down half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To 14 hours on your feet, shaving potatoes and, you know, like just prepping for the whole day. Like it was hectic and I don't know, I think...
Took the fun out of it.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. And I think Gordon Ramsay was going on at that time. So like the peak of being a chef...
Yeah.
It was like even with like I think a lot of TV shows,
MasterChef and stuff like that.
Man, that and you know like The Biggest Loser, like ever since that came on, everyone wanted to be a personal trainer. There was just like a huge. So even with like Gordon Ramsay's like shows, like everyone wanted to be a chef. It was just the birth of like that sort of career. And then same thing with like what is it? The Block. Like everyone wanted to be
a builder
because it's cool. It's on TV. So it just glorifies everything.
Yeah.
And then I remember on the Saturday, on my lunch break, I think that was at like 3 o'clock. I started at 10. I just left. I just come back. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, fuck this.
Yeah. And then at that time...
But you were doing hairdressing and chef at the same time?
No. Okay. So that was straight up... Yep, got an apprenticeship as a chef.
Yeah.
Straight out of high school.
Okay.
And then that went to shit. So I remember leaving that day and I saw a friend of mine. She wasn't even an apprentice, actually. She did the course for hairdressing. So there's 2 ways to kind of enter hairdressing. There's either you do a course, you pay the government. I think it takes like a year.
Okay.
And it costs you like, I think now it's like 50 grand or something like that. Shit. Back then it was like 20.
Yeah.
And you have to pay that in lump sums. Like those colleges that would sign you off.
Yeah. Like a student loan or something.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to go study hairdressing and you don't want to be an apprentice. And then you wanted to go uni for that, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Or you can go get an apprenticeship where the government pays you. You go to school once a week.
And then so you're almost a TAFE.
Yes, it's a TAFE. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
I think so.
A course? I don't know. It was I remember
don't
just applying for the course because
Yeah.
she did that course, and she kind of persuaded me on the way home because we lived in Deer Park
From
together.
quitting.
Yeah, so she went to my high school, and then I saw her after high school
Yeah.
because we caught the same train home.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think she was finishing her course around 5, and she was a good friend of mine in school. And then I was like, fuck yeah, you know what? Like, I can't go home and tell my parents I never came back to fucking Sheffing. Like, I gotta go. So that very day, I pretty much applied for that course.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to work. No, that very week, sorry, I applied for that course. And I think like the first repayment was like $2,000. And that course goes for like I think 18 months or something like that. But
Yeah.
and that $2,000 was basically for you to get your like appliances, like your scissors, your hairdryer,
Yeah.
your dummy head, and all your textbooks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then you pay them in installments.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I just probably did like. When the payment came up by the end of the month, I was already gone. Hey, like because I was like, fuck, I just wanted to see if I liked this or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They made me sign all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And lucky enough, I became really good friends with the dispensary lady who basically, at that part of the school, she controlled all the colours. So if you're learning colour at that time,
Yeah.
you go there and she would mix things up for you.
Okay.
And I became like good mates with
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
yeah. And then we after school we used to just like she worked for a really good hairdresser at that time. I think his name was she did her apprenticeship with him. I think his name's Patrick Cameron or something like that. Some really good hairdresser in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then she kind of told me when we went out just for drinks because you do. I went out with this other mate of mine as well. Like, it was like 3 of us. Like we just all used to just smoke bud and shit.
Yeah.
And then go have some beers. And then I just kind of ask her, hey, what's your like? If you could give me advice, like, what would you
Yeah.
give me? Because I really respected her. 'Cause
Yeah,
she was,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Much older, really friendly, and genuinely, just because I grew up from the West, I felt like you can genuinely tell sometimes between someone really wants something good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know? Because
think
you
so.
meet a lot of fucked up people
Yeah.
down this way.
Yeah, you do.
And then when someone really could sit there and
that's-
persuade you as a young kid to be like,
that's
hey,
strange because I always thought that like if I see someone doing well that came from the West, I'm like, I don't care who it is. Like, fuck, well done.
yeah.
Fuck,
Man, he made it.
Yeah, he made it.
He made it, man.
He made it. I don't know if it might be the same on the other side. Fucking doubt it, but
no, but you just give a lot of respect on.
You do.
There is a lot of haters out there.
yeah, there is.
I truly believe that, but then also that's a motivation because it's just like, oh man, like.
If he can do it or she can do it,
Yeah.
fuck.
But I truly believe in pathways. Like the path you walk in life really brings you who you are now. Like in terms of like your decision making. Because
Yeah, 100%.
I was like, fuck. Like I just dedicated most of my life to to this industry.
Yeah.
And how are you maintaining all of that? Because people fall out of that interest straight away. And
Yeah.
I did with her too. Like
Yeah.
But I was very grateful to.
Have someone.
I had another opportunity in life as well and that revolved around art. So, but I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Once we get through this bit,
Yeah. So you're talking to this.
Yeah, and then she just kind of said, "Hey, you know what, man? Like, if I were you, I wouldn't pay this course. Like, I would go out there and get an apprenticeship because you'll learn much more. It might take a little bit of time." But you'll understand it much more.
Yeah.
They're just trying to cram all this shit into you and
Yeah.
then tick that shit off, and then they can earn their fucking whatever
Whatever
money.
it is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and a
Unless
lot
it
of
was
the time,
apprenticeship, you're in the field.
Well,
you're learning
yeah.
by yourself as well.
you hear how people just get that fucked up haircut.
I've had
what
many.
That's pretty much because I truly believe someone took the fast track.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, 100%. Like,
It's like doing the course, all right, now I got it, and then...
yeah, man, I truly believe it's the passion became the passion.
Yeah.
Like I really had to hate it to love it.
Really?
Yeah, man, because it wasn't easy because I had to leave that school even though I signed up for this.
Yeah.
And I owe him $2,000.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you don't have a job at this moment, do you?
Nah, bro.
Oh, fuck.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, all right.
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
At this time, you know, for me, I didn't really like. It was just hard to support my career.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is a perfect opportunity because I went out and told
You got nothing else.
Well, I went home and told my dad, like, hey man, like, I'm gonna be a hairdresser. They can't get turned around. He's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So he thinks
Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah,
Or are you fucking... At that time, it was such a nostalgia. Like, you know, if you were cutting hair, you would either be a part of another minority too, man. Like, people didn't look you at the same way. They think you're like, oh, man, he's into other, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, nah. Like, I'm really about this because I want to learn about this fucking craft.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, first it was supposed to be like, oh, yeah, man, like, I'm just trying to get by, figure if I like this or not. And then it wasn't until I think I had a bit of a meltdown at that age. I think every teenager does.
Yeah.
You know, and
Sometimes it's later on.
yeah, man, some stuff. I fell into hospital, and then I had to get well. And then that's when I really took the opportunity to really pursue this course. So I didn't have a school to go to. I was really sick. And then I went out and just put my resume out.
Yeah.
Throughout all the companies that were wanting to take a apprentice on.
Yeah.
But because I've had some kind of knowledge of the field at that point.
Yeah, because you did a week.
I did a month.
Yeah.
You know, I did just under a month. But like I was told like this is a good company to work for. You know, you don't want to go for a local company. You want to go for an international company that you know has international standards. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna fuck. It's like me walking into fucking a designer store and be, hey man, like, you just need a motherfucking manager. Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
so it kind of switched when she told you like, don't worry about going to school. You should just take this.
Yeah.
Do apprenticeship.
Yeah. And, you know, like, fuck, I was like, do I listen to this person? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's when, you know, I fell really sick too.
Yeah.
Mentally. And then it took me, I reckon, about a good 2-3 months to get back on track. Yeah. And then that's when I decided to go
take
out. Take her advice, yeah, because I was probably, I was ill for a couple of months. I didn't do anything. Had to get well, and then from there, I decided, you know, when I was in hospital, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I thought about it really, really carefully.
Because you had to do something.
I had to do something, man. I had to do something. And then so I went out and put my apprenticeship, a company called Tony and Guy. I put my resume in there. And they took me on straight away. Yeah. Actually, another person took me on straight away. He actually gave me $100 on our first. I walked in, and I was like handing my resume, and 2 doors down, as I got to the second shop, he's calling me back. He's like, "Hey man, let's have an interview right now." And we went into the store next door for a coffee. Kind of told him what happened, and then he's like, takes out his wallet, hands me $100, and I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Nah, man, just come back tomorrow, man. This is just something to help you out."
Oh shit!
Yeah, man. It was a place actually right now. I just want to say thank you to him. Really rude of me. I even totally forgot his fucking name. He's such a nice. I remember his shop. His shop was on Johnson Smith Street. It was called Prophecy. It's now known as the Drunken Barber. It was one of the
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Just in front of Huckster Burgers, basically.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
And man,
wow,
like, yeah.
So he just listened to your stories like, you know what? Yeah. Here's your $100.
100%,
Come back tomorrow.
Yeah, and I did, bro. And I did.
And that was like one of your first stores that you hand up your resume.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
So and then he was so lovely, man. And the shop was so fucking cool. It was such a this environmental.
A barber shop or hairdresser?
This is a hairdresser's, man.
Okay.
It was like a shoe shop, really small, double level. Like, I think they fit like 2 basins at the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 stations at the bottom, and then a color station on top, and a basin or 2 basins or something. Real small, man. It was like fucking small as.
Imagine you
small.
didn't take that opportunity.
Do you know what, man? And this is what rolls my mind every time. So within a week, because I was already used to traveling to St Kilda for Luna Park.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mind traveling to Richmond. Where's
Smith Street, Collingwood. Collingwood. I think it's Collingwood.
Yeah, is that Smith? Yeah, that's Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood.
Yeah. So that's near the IMAX theatre. Yeah.
Carlton.
Is that Carlton?
That's Carlton.
That'll be Carlton. Yeah,
that'll be Carlton.
So Smith Street. And then I get a phone call from Tony and Guy. They're like, "Hey, you still up for that trial for the apprenticeship or like apprentice?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, what do I do?" Yeah, sweet, I am.
Yeah.
And then I shut it, and then I just screamed in my pillow. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what do I do, man? Like, this is all kind of coming to me. You know, this guy's been so nice." And then
it's funny. There's a saying like, "Be careful what you ask for because you might get it."
And that's exactly what happened.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
bro.
like you've asked for help. Yeah. Like, I need to get out of this situation, and then all of a sudden, all right, here it is, man.
Yeah.
So you can handle it. Can you handle it?
You know, it was so like intense. I didn't know what to do, and then I basically like, you know what?
What's the worst that could happen?
He could always ask for me back. I just want to get you. And so I was honest to him. I was like, "Hey, man, like, here's your $100 back."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here's your $100 back. I've got another opportunity coming towards me, and I just want to fucking be honest. And that was the hardest thing, man, to say to him. And he goes, don't even stress about that $100. I wish you all the best. Super nice guy about it. That even broke my heart even more.
Yeah.
Like, if he could have been like, "Hey, man, get the fuck out of my shop," I would have been like, "Yes, sweet." Like, because I was preparing for that. But he was like, "Yeah, sweet, man. Like, you know, if it doesn't work out, come back." I'm like,
okay.
True.
So you had 2 opportunities at the same time.
Yup.
And you chose the
Too
other
much
one.
decisions, bro, to make at that point. And I chose the other one.
Yeah.
And then I remember my first probably month there.
Why did you choose the other one?
Man, because it was just an international brand.
And because the lady gave you that advice saying you should
just go get an apprenticeship.
Okay.
But it was my own research to do who I wanted to get taught by.
Oh, right.
What did I wanted to get?
Fuck. That is a tough choice.
It's a hard one because
obviously he knows.
Yep.
Obviously he knows, like, he's probably been in that position too as a hairdresser. Like, he probably thought,
100%.
I wish someone did this for me.
Yes.
That's why he wasn't mad. He's like, oh, good. He's researched. He's gone for this one.
Yeah.
Go hard.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, I think everyone was kind of like, yeah, man, like, to me, it was like, I just got accepted into Harvard.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And now I had to do the work.
Yeah, okay.
And it was like, that's basically in, like, getting accepted into, like, Sony or someone. Like
okay,
that.
so it's a high-end...
Fucking oath.
Okay.
Like, it was a really...
So that's why the choice was...
Yeah.
This is the opportunity I have to take.
It's definitely, like, got more legacy. It's got more foundation.
Yeah.
It started...
So you really thought about yourself...
A long time ago.
And not just...
I thought about my career.
Yeah.
I really did.
Because
I
if you
asked
had
myself what I wanted to do.
If it was just a moral thing, you probably went to the other guy.
Yeah.
But you really thought about it and it's like, nah, I think this is the best for myself as a career.
100%.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That is tough when you go against your morals. Not your morals, but your...
Yeah, the way how you were brought up.
Yeah. Because this guy's being kind. You've got to repay him.
100%.
He just gave you $100.
100%.
Fuck, the opportunities you get.
Yeah.
What life throws at you there.
Yeah. And, you know, it's hard, man. And
Did you ever see him back again?
Sorry?
Did you ever see him again?
Man, do you know what? Oh, maybe once or twice.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe once or twice. I kept losing my license, to be honest, man.
Still don't have a license.
I still don't have a license. Yeah. See, I'm a sick person.
So you're in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
they accept you. You're in there.
They accepted me, and it was like, man, like I was dealing, even though I was dealing with high end people too, people would pay that price.
Yeah.
So I just remember just like pressure was massive, and like dealing with a whole different volume of people. It wasn't a cozy little shop.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
this thing was like fucking 10 to 15 people. I was like, what?
Shit.
And they were all like artists, man. Like they were all hairdressers at their fucking elite level, you know. Like,
they didn't cut hair for the money. It was cut hair because they...
Anyone that worked for that company knew you didn't get paid well. You did
They
it
didn't
for
care.
the reputation, bro.
Okay.
Because it was like...
That's how high-end this...
It was, the golden era for Tony and Guy. I think it was around about the 90s to the early 2000s, where they were like, everything was all done structurally by hand.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there was a certain way...
Criteria.
Man, it's really hard. Like the best way to describe it is like they are one of the main top forefather companies that developed modernized hairdressing.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I could explain that right, it catapulted. You could say like
that industry.
Yeah, it's
not
just elite, man.
It's not just giving you. It's not just giving you an undercut. It's more than.
Yeah. And it was the reason behind all that was because of their structure and foundation.
Yeah.
Which existed in 1953.
Oh shit.
So they've got like 40, 50 years of like
cutting hair
under their belt. Like any industry that lasts that fucking long in hair is just it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's on the lines with Veer Sassoon.
Yeah.
And all the main big cats at that time, like they control runway shows for their hair and stuff like that. Like that's
you
know, Melbourne fashion.
Yeah,
100%. So that's massive in that sort of category. So I just I remember it was like fuck, like I was getting told off for everything, you know, like. And I started off in Melbourne Central actually. There was 7 TGs in Melbourne at that time. It was definitely a franchise as well, but everyone had to perform at that high end level. Yeah, you know, so it became.
You couldn't cut hair either if you can't.
Man, think of it like this: like if you were toning guy trained, anyone in the hair industry will take you on.
Oh, really?
100%. It was like working for Macca's.
It's like working for Macca's.
Oh my god! It just came back to the same thing. Like
the standard.
It's
a high standard.
If I was trained by them, I could go in any industry.
You go,
in any hairdressing industry, and will be accepted as an educator or basically, you know, down to product, consulting, all that line, you know, because it's a stepping stone. It's a massive stepping stone because of their degree of like quality. And basically, you couldn't just, and anyone that was toning guide trained knew that it was like boot camp from day one, bro. Yeah. Like
but there's a reason why.
And it was Vicious, known for like not many people qualified with them.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that
it took a lot, and they had to send you away to get qualified.
Did you reckon that chef course prepped you for a high end training like that? Because chef's similar, right?
Well, that chefing was it was Aboriginal cuisine.
Oh.
It was a 5-star at that point. Yeah. So it was known
pressured
for its Australian bush tucker.
Yeah.
So it was pressure work too, you know. So I think having a bit of a standard for myself. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that I want to get trained by
the best.
By the best, you know, and that really brought the training that Tony and Guy gave me really brought me down to my core now with the guys I train in my shop. Yeah. Because if I could do it, all the guys in the shop can. Yeah. I just needed to structure out the way how I was being taught. Yeah. And then with TG, it was so hard. It was the hardest thing, man. It was like, the standard was
you couldn't
fuck up.
Couldn't cut a corner.
Couldn't cut a corner, man. And then they sent me away actually because they knew I had working potential, but I didn't have the technical skills. And at that point, as an apprentice, you weren't cutting hair, bro. Like, you were washing hair. So I couldn't even wash hair properly, bro.
Oh, shit.
And take off colours and do blow waves and shit like that. Like,
Is washing hair like the bottom?
bro,
Yeah.
if you... Yes. It was like... Yes, exactly. No, sweeping hair was...
The first.
The first. And then basic. You were someone's household keeper
Yeah.
in that shop, and you did all the... So they would cut their hair.
Yeah.
You blow dried that hair.
Okay.
They come back because they're
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that point where they're doing like technical cuts.
Yeah.
And it takes longer than 45 minutes, so the apprentice would come. But each apprentice basically had to understand each stylist how the way they wanted their haircut to be blow dried. And if it was wrong, you had to do it again. So, and that went through your lunch break to
shit.
you staying. And if you run
Full
behind,
boot camp.
full boot camp. Like, imagine if you cut someone's hair, yeah, and then you got someone else to style it, and you're like, that's not the way.
How would you like progress? How would you go from sweeping hair to washing hair to actually, all right, let's cut your first hair?
So their style of training is basically for the whole apprenticeship, your whole 3 years. That's what it took. You basically, your first year, you basically just do the household stuff like maintenance, sweeping,
Yeah.
taking everything apart, cleaning it, washing dishes, washing hair, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, all the way to your third year apprentice. So you still be doing that. You wouldn't even be cutting, brother. But you'll be trained once a week for 2 hours how to cut and color during your apprenticeship, and then take you through different levels of it. Like, you start off learning how to do a
The
lot
level
straight
one,
line. Yeah. And then by the third year, if you're still with them,
Because they can get rid of you whenever they want.
100%, or you can just leave because it's too hard
It's
work.
too hard.
Yeah.
Or you just like, well, I want to cut some real hair.
Yeah.
3 years.
Exactly. But their trick is the fact that you learnt how to finish a haircut without even realizing it, because you blow dried
That many.
that many haircuts that when it came to cutting, you know how to fucking blow dry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
And
it's
that's
all in reason.
It's all in reason, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. What I found I did more of, like, it got to the point where I was so shit at blow waves and I was so shit at washing hair. Then towards the end of it was like people were lining up for getting a blow wave or getting their hair washed.
Why you?
100%, bro. I know it sounds so fucking... I'm not talking myself up here, but I was getting tips for just washing hair, bro. I actually had education paid for me because of that part of work. Yeah, I managed to... I'm going to drop your name because you're so lovely to me. Thank you, Richard Rogers. He was the co-founder for Roger Davids.
Oh, shit.
So I used to wash his hair. And then my boss at that time, I worked for South Yard at that time.
Yeah.
This was my third year. They moved me from Melbourne Central my first year into
South Yarra.
South Yarra because they were looking for an apprentice, and at that shop they couldn't stand me because I didn't want to wash hair because I wasn't good at it, and I was just like being a fucking nah, man, fuck that. No, I'm not doing it. And they're like, instead of firing him, how about we move him to another place? So I thought, I was like, fuck, there's the end of my like fucking working globally.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to wash hair because it was so fucking hard. Into then moving into the next shop, and I always had this thing about me, I'm like, you're gonna fucking regret this. And that's what fueled me because of my background. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to be one of their best, man.
Yeah.
In that field at that point. So
yeah. So you almost thought you got lucky because they could have got rid of you from Melbourne Central.
Pretty much.
Instead, they send you as like, all right.
Yeah.
All right. If I fuck this up, there's no more.
Yeah. And so they even send me further away. So I was going from Melbourne Central, was only one train.
Yeah.
Going into South Yarra, catching two fucking trains.
Yeah.
So it was a bus and a train.
Yeah.
Now it was a bus and two trains.
Yeah.
And do you know how many times I fell asleep and I end up in like Brighton? And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was always late but as an apprentice, they didn't care. Because they knew I was coming fucking from Werribee at that point. Because I moved out to Werribee to work in South Yarra for them and became one of their like, I think, to me. And I hold them so dearly to my heart because they taught me everything I know now. The company, Richard Rogers, Stuart Freeman. He basically just kind of like guided me and mentored me through my career. And they knew that towards the end of my apprenticeship, I had to go through a thing called vardering, which is if you're chosen by the company and they're willing to take you on as either a stylist or a technician. Technician's a colorist. Yeah, you either cut or color at that point. Yeah. So that's like by the third year,
that's like a level above.
Yeah, that's when you become qualified to them.
Shit, yeah.
So even though you finish school, and because you still had to do your schooling to be registered as a hairdresser, once a week. Normally that takes 2 years, so you should be able to be finished out within a year before. Yeah, you qualify. So it took me almost double the time because I didn't know how to read, bro. Schooling took me 4 years.
Oh, the actual theory.
The theory side took me 4 years. And then my apprenticeship took me 4.5. And then
so 8 years in total? That was like together?
That was together.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And then I didn't really jump on the floor till my 5th year. Because I spent the other 6 months, I went through vardering. So with the company that I was at, you had to structurally learn how to cut all these modules. Yeah. And each time it had to be a different head.
Okay.
And you had to do... I get it. So there was 14. And then you had to do 10 before you got tested on. Okay. So your 11th one you got tested on. Yeah. Each of those 10 had to be a different head. So you had to find 140 heads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Real heads?
Real heads, bro. Oh. Like it got
I was thinking about dolls, but...
real people.
Okay,
like, do you know how hard it is to ask someone on the street, hey...
Can I cut your hair?
Can I cut your hair? I had to pay them, bro.
Oh, really?
So the money that I was earning as an apprentice 3rd year, I paid towards that end. And I was in Brighton, bro. They sent me to Brighton at that time to do that. Yeah. So that was extremely hard because I had to find people from Brighton, man. And people down in Brighton is just completely different. They're like, oh, man, are you from the other side of the fucking bridge? I was like, yes.
And also, it's probably hard because I think everyone has no one wants to cut. I won't let it strain to cut my hair, kind of.
Yeah, man. So that was hard. And then by the end of it, like you had to run on time. So you had to do all of this. So it was like 10 haircuts a day, 45 minutes each, all different levels
lengths
of hair,
and
lengths and stuff,
hairstyles.
Man, and everything was all measured to the T. And then at the end, you had to do a written exam about all those haircuts too. So that's where they pay for my education to teach me how to read and spell again.
Really?
For 2 years, yeah, man. So
they paid for that for you?
They paid for that for me.
That's good ass, bro.
That's fucking mad,
That's fucking mad,
What do you mean, man? Like, I was like...
They didn't have to, did they?
Nah, man.
They just like, we'll help you out.
100%.
It's good ass.
So once a week, I had a tutor coming to the shop. I had to be there at 9 o'clock.
Oh, fuck. They fully prepped it for you and everything.
I learned A, B, C again.
Fuck.
100%, man.
That's really good of them. So they... Obviously now they... he's in it. Like, he can do this.
It was so hard for me to break away from them.
Yeah.
I was with him for 9 years, bro.
Why did you break? So at the end of the 9 years, cutting hair like a pro?
To be honest, I think I just got my foot in hairdressing.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So pretty much after 9 years, it's like you've clocked at school. Pretty much, sort of?
Nah, man, I feel like that's what I thought. And then as I got a little bit older, I felt I haven't even scraped at the fucking surface of this. Yeah, man, because...
So that 9 years was just a base, a foundation?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck.
Pretty much.
Damn. You stuck it out.
Yup. I felt comfortable leaving them.
Yeah.
I felt also scared.
Well, I guess they prepped you for that.
Yeah.
9 years of prepping for you to do this.
Yeah. And when I left, I was like, fuck. I was like, sink or swim, man.
Yeah.
So I went back to my drawing boards again.
Yeah.
What they taught me.
So why did you quit?
I quit because I had an opportunity to learn something. Well, I quit because I wanted to be a pastry chef, in other words.
Really?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Like,
I quit because I wanted to specialize in a category of hairdressing.
Right.
Which was barbering.
Okay.
So...
what year was this?
2016.
Okay. I think that's when you first cut my hair.
Yeah.
2016,
2017,
18.
17 around that
Yeah.
time. Yeah. It was hard, man. It was hard because
Yeah.
I went in from such a structural shop into a barber shop,
Which is very loose.
which was,
No?
bro, it was like you go in and it's like dog eat dog, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like no one wanted to teach you anything. It was like, because we're like in
Okay.
where I did hairdressing, it was like, okay, we had to talk about the structure, how we cut, and
Yeah.
because after you become qualified, you start teaching the young generation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I also started teaching the upcoming hairdressers for that company.
When you're doing that hairdressing, you learn fades there too, or?
Yeah. I started learning more barbering towards the end.
Okay.
There, but I didn't really. I didn't. I really enjoyed it and really kind of wanted to get something more out of it because I knew I wasn't getting enough of it.
Yeah.
Towards the end,
Okay.
so I was still kind of doing a lot of men's work. Like I was pretty much. I cut a lot of men's hair in the salon.
Yeah.
I had more male clientele as opposed to female clientele, but I still had my regular female clientele.
Yeah.
And it was just.
But they showed you a little bit. You're like, oh, this is
100% because all in a way,
Still cutting
they were
hair.
still cutting hair. They were still a lead of their game.
Yeah.
So whatever was out in fashion at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
It was really. That's when I said like 2009 was when really fades.
Yeah.
Started getting
Coming
in, and then it kind of really had to get pushed through the community and get it filtered through.
Yeah, I think
after a couple of years, to be honest, man.
I've always said that
Short hair, like, fuck, man, you look like you're from the military, G. You remember those comments that you get? It's
no,
now it's just become like...
Everyone's got a fade.
Yeah, which is something I'm trying to lean more away from at the moment because I really want to dive back into the art of cutting hair itself because it's so...
It's more than just a fade.
100%, man. I was taught, really, man, it's not about how much hair you cut off the head, it's about how much hair you keep on the head.
Oh.
So that, to me, resonated with me for a long time because you're shaping someone's hair,
Yeah.
So I feel like once you learn how to cut it, then you learn how to take it off, and then now you find your in-between. And that's where this shop brought me here now.
Yeah, so after the 9 years, went on your own.
Yep. I went into a barbershop for 6 months first.
Yeah.
I really wanted to work in a barbershop because
Yeah.
it's two different demographics.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
And that's totally different environment. No one wanted to teach
different.
you, so you're kind of on your own. Or
Man, you're
just
coming
watching.
from doing a salon cut in a barbershop was like a no-no.
Yeah, it's just like a...
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
the fuck is this guy doing,
Yeah,
bro?
we don't even wash hair here. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And like, what do you mean? Like, soaking them down and like, I knew how to... See, the thing was, when I went into this barbershop, like, the fades were sick, yeah?
Yeah.
They were doing technical barbering, and that's something I wanted to learn because I was only doing average barbering in that salon.
Yeah.
Because it was, especially in South Yo, man, they're like, man, just a two?
Yeah.
You know, like when you come down to the west.
style.
Yeah, bro.
Where fading it's all clipper.
Yes, on the sides, definitely it's a different tool. It gives you a different effect.
Yeah.
I had to do that with scissors, man, at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Up there. So that taught me a lot with the scissor game as well.
Yeah.
And then really I wanted to learn more with the clippers how to actually use this fucking thing that looks like it's going to cut your ears off on someone's head, 100%.
Yeah, it does.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And using the corners and moving at a certain level fast.
Yeah.
Getting the gradient. How to make it look, like seamless, man.
Yeah.
Like ashy. Like,
Yeah.
it looks like it's raining on someone's head.
Yeah.
It's all an artwork at the end of the day, and that's where I found myself a bit more mesmerized with crafting men's hair because I could leave sharp lines. And me as an artist, I was always about drawing. Start off with your outline and then work your way in with soft shaves and shades and
So true.
To me, when I'm looking at it, like
you're almost looking at it as a drawing.
almost, yeah, pretty much. That's
That's how you would shade something in. It's like how you.
Well, man, and I think the reason why it took so long in my apprenticeship because I couldn't find someone that could tell me that until I clicked with this guy that was doing my vardering, and he was like, "Hey, man, just treat cutting hair like fucking you drawing." I was like, "Oh, true," because I think at that time I started fucking around with tattoo machines.
Yeah.
You know, really getting into it. And it was hard because I didn't have eBay, you know. I didn't know how to work eBay. You know, I'm still like I said, I'm dyslexic. I'm very old fashioned when it comes to.
You're more hands on, visual.
It is, bro. So you know, I was like, fuck, all right, like, and then I started working in a tattoo parlor. After becoming a hairdresser at Tony and Guy, because I was working at South Yarra, and then they pulled my day down to 4 days or something like that. So I had 3 days off.
Yeah.
So 2 days I would work in a tattoo parlor near there.
Tattooing,
yeah. I was there for about 6 months.
tattooing people.
Tattooing bikies.
Really?
Yeah.
So just random shit.
Just fucking a lot of like patches, man. Like, you know,
Yeah.
You know, just whatever their soldiers.
And you didn't do school for that? You just went in?
Man. So yet again, you know, a lot of my art kind of really something I learned along the way when I was, you know, not hairdressing.
You're still doing art, so you had an idea how to shade.
Yeah,
stencil.
pretty much, man.
It was just a gun.
Difference. Yeah. Well, I remember walking and I was like, hey, man, like this guy was covered head to toe. I was like, hey, that's a fresh tattoo. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. I did it myself. I was like, what?
Oh.
Yeah. And he's like, man, you should come work for us. I'm like, fucking no. And then I was on my break, actually.
That's how it started?
Yeah, when I was working.
You tattooed yourself?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, just this one right here.
You tattooed that yourself?
Yeah, bro. Well, I did all this myself, brother. So.
On yourself?
Yeah.
Did yourself? Fuck. That's mean.
So, I don't know, man. It's just a cheap way of doing it, to be honest. I didn't want to pay.
It was just for fun, too.
It was for fun, and it was almost like I was like, "Oh man,
might as well.
I just want to learn, you know. I just want to like because
awesome.
every part of the skin is different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
like a person's head.
Exactly. So my mind was always really fixated on art.
Yeah,
growing up, like, and it still is now. You know, I try to make art and life make sense.
Yeah,
somehow
it's very similar.
You know, and it's like even with the way I deal with business, man.
Yeah,
like, not many people see it like that. But yeah, it's
tattooing because. So
I didn't like it though. Like I liked where I worked.
Yeah.
But I was burning myself out.
Okay.
Like I was doing 6 days working, not getting paid for tattooing.
Oh.
Which I wasn't really down. Growing up, man, honestly, like I don't really do things for money, man. Like I did it because I became myself.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
this is what
there was a sense like I couldn't do something and you know, an office job or something like that. And getting paid fucking million. I don't really care about that, to be honest. Like, I just want to live every day and know that I could create something and someone's fucking like, that's mad.
Yeah, that's mad.
You know, like, fucking.
Yeah,
I was like, all right. But then at that point, it kind of like, I'm like, fuck, now I'm just doing it for my ego.
Oh, okay.
And that fucked me up. Like, hard, man.
Burning yourself out now, mentally.
Yeah, I think it's just people say like, oh man, you could paint or draw or you could cut. That's so like, I'm like, I think it's a curse, man. Nah, because it's just like you always want to get more different and better.
Yeah.
And then you start drinking more, you start taking more drugs, you start fucking yourself up.
Yeah.
In order to create good artwork.
Oh yeah,
like, you fall into that stereotype artist fucking, he's a fucking junkie or because he spends. But, like, if you look at some of the most greatest musicians and artists and all that, like, they all fucked up, man.
Yeah, they all fucked up.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, like, it's like...
So you kind of fell into that thing, like, oh, this is what I need to create.
Yeah.
But really, you really didn't.
Yeah, no. And then I got sober. And then I was like, fuck, nothing makes sense.
Oh, shit.
Nothing makes sense.
During that time, you were still cutting hair, tattooing.
Yeah.
But it was just...
Yep.
A blur,
just a bit, and then because of the industry, the person that I work for in the tattoo parlor, it wasn't like, I don't know, man. Like, structure. I just kind of had to kind of figure like, all right, I can't do one and I can't do the other.
Yeah,
I know for myself, like I can't have 2 bikes. You know, I got to give my love to to this all.
Yeah.
You know, and
so naturally just went back to barbering.
naturally just went back to hairdressing.
Yeah.
Because it's my core. Like I spent so much
time, effort.
And then I got to the point with tattooing. I'm like, all right, man, am I going to quit my day job, which I studied and gave my life for
something I just fell into.
Something I just fell into, and I know that fucking it's such a big. I don't know, man. It's like, have you been tattooed by this guy or like? You know, I got into a couple of shops after that.
Yeah,
and it was just like, fuck, like these guys are assholes. Like, you know, it's like I'm just
a
new
different
guy.
environment than
Bro,
hairdressing.
Because it's all about your style. It's all about like the way you draw things. Like, oh man, that's Japanese, but you're doing it really Western, and it's like, fuck off. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like just let me fucking paint, and it made me hate art. Like,
going back to that, I used to airbrush.
So fucking there you go.
All right, and I used to love
politics, yeah.
And I used to love it, and then it turned me off when people were like, all right, I need this of my grandma by this today to this day. Like, oh man, I'm just that's not how I do things. I just want to do it. If you like it, take it.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
It turned me off. It turned me off.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what it was like. It was like, man,
it became a job. But like, oh, this is not what I did it for.
100%.
Like, I did this for myself.
Yeah,
to enjoy drawing and stuff.
Yeah,
and
like
turned me off,
bro. And this was the thing that got you through life. You know, like art, and it was like it got to the point where I fucking hated it because I'm expected to do this, and that, and then they tell me they don't like it, and I'm like, bro, I just spent all this hour drawing you a stencil. I've got to.
You know what the worst was for me with too is like, there's like, this is awesome. I'm just. Nah, man. If you knew, if you knew that corner was that's
I know exactly. You know what I mean? And then someone will pick at it. I'm like, hey, man. I was like, oh fuck, you know I don't do this, but you still ask me to do this. So are you here to set me up to fuck me up, emotionally? Because like you're starting me to fucking hate this. Yeah, like I'm like, I don't screw this. So I just stopped that and pursued back to hairdressing.
Yeah,
back to hairdressing, and then I left the company. And then I started barbering. And then along the way, I got to travel. So every time I travelled, I went into shops. Barbershops, hairdressers, just said good day. Watch what they do, man. Like, you know, I always used just one day, you know, just sitting there. I'm like, hey, I'll just come sweep. Like, I'll introduce myself the day before. Come, let my missus go do whatever she wants, and then I'll go spend a day there, or even get a haircut and just kind of like
see how they do it.
Well,
interact and all that stuff.
Even though you don't speak their language, it's just good to watch. Yeah, because you know I spent my whole life watching. You know, so and then you grow a relationship with them. You know, but I always go back to the same. I visit the same barbershop sometimes. Yeah, because I think that like they've captured and still have this traditional style of barbering. Yeah,
but they own.
Yeah, still classic work, man. Straight classic work. Yeah. That, you know, like, fuck, like, you really fucking took your time to study this. And I pull my hat down to anyone that doesn't not only just create something, but really took their time to study what they're doing. Okay, yeah. Like, you know, any foundation with any kind of work, if you don't know the history behind it, what it takes, you ain't gonna create it. Yeah, you know, so
going in there blind almost.
100%, man. So and it just kept making me wanting to become better. It refilled my hairdressing career. Yeah, it sparked it because I think with anyone, you know, if you don't in tune with your craft. After a while, but that's not up to the person that's teaching you as well. Yeah, it's up to you. Once you learn, you gotta almost have your way, find your style. Yeah. And sometimes when people learn my way, you know, they're like, "Oh man, I can do whatever." And it's like, well, no, that's just one part of it. Yeah. You now have to create your own. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
So you pretty much traveled, and it's just taking bits of pieces, trying to create your own style.
Yeah, man. From what I've learned from, you know, I've been doing it since I was 17. I'm 33 this year. Fuck. So it's and I never stopped it. Yeah. I only worked on my days off on other shops. Yeah. But I never stopped it.
After your travels, you come back, open a store? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. So and I was very lucky in the barbershop to become friends with this guy who's a killer fade, man. Like, this guy is a monster still me today. Like, I think he's just fucking... He is so good, he doesn't know it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now he's milking cows.
Is he really?
yeah.
He's like retired.
No, he's younger than me, man. But he's been in the barbershop game as long as I have in hairdressing.
Yeah.
So he's got such... But in New Zealand, you know, like any New Zealand barber, bro, they are fucking killer at fades, bro.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
You can't fuck around with them in that.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they'll eat you alive when it comes
yeah.
to it, yeah. And I put my hat down to that.
Yeah.
The Kiwi boy, the Islander boys, man, fucking, you're a machine. And I vouch and put my hat and my respect down to those boys. So I wanted to have that element in having hairdressing element as well.
Yeah.
And fuse that together, and you could say a modernized version of, you know, the best of this world and the best of hairdressing world from my point of view.
Yeah.
What I could achieve where I'm in.
Well, that's
life.
why. Well, who introduced me? Our mate Mickey introduced me to you.
It was the G.
And were you working at Grindstone at that time?
Yep. So I was with them near home in Werribee, actually.
Yeah, that's where.
And I think that was their first store. And
that's when I got my first fade, by the way.
Killer, yeah.
Yeah,
solid. And but then when it came to the hairdressing game, it was like, fuck. It was like, man, I felt the opposite, you know. I was like, fuck. Like, they were coming up to me and they're like, hey, man, like, what should I do at the top? I'm like, "Gee, just do it like this.
Yeah.
And then I was going over to them, then, you know, Paulie, he was a good mate of mine, and we hung out after work, and he's like, gee, I'm going to teach you something. I'm like, what's up? And he goes, the same thing, man. He's like, best fades, bro, is when you keep the hair on the head. I was like, oh, man, my teacher taught me that it's not about all the hair you cut off the head. It's about the hair you keep on the head, you know? It's like, these days, man, the skin fades are too high, but genuinely, man, like, it's just like a picture, bro. I'm like, fuck. You just open, like, my world just went... At that point when he spoke about it, like, in a drawing world. And then it just made more sense to me, you know. Yeah.
Because a lot of people do fades. They don't touch scissors.
No.
Well, generally, but with you, I've always seen like you've always if I need scissors, I want to use scissors. It doesn't because
it's well, I think you know that's me trying to do things that people think that it's like, oh man, like
that's not how I got taught.
In a way, it's like I try to be a bit unorthodox, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's because I'm so structural in the shop that it's my time now to, like, be like, okay, I'm going to show you guys something. Even though I told you guys not to do this, there's a reason why, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you how it's properly done. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really throw advanced things to them straight away because they're going to fucking get confused.
It's like telling something like this, it's not...
You can't give them step 4. You got to go step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then watch this. I'm just going to do all that step with just step 4.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like playing a song with only one beat, but like doing it in a way where it's actually a song.
Yeah, I get you.
So it's like, okay, today I'm not going to use clippers, I'm going to use scissors. I'll still give you a fucking skin fade with the scissors and a razor. You know what I mean?
Then it's like kind of up to you what you want to do with it.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
But now you know how to do it with scissors and this?
Yeah, 100%. Because I had to do that with scissors when I was in the salon. So it's like, you know, it's like, whoa. It's like,
well, that's why I stuck with you because... Asian hair is hard.
It's so hard.
And my head, like...
It's so fucking hard.
It swirls, like, here somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, like, wait, you didn't... Some barbers like, what do you want? And they'll do it. You're like, man, we should just do this because your hair is this way, like that. I'm gonna cut this little bit here and then we'll work from there. I was like, oh, fuck, this... bit different.
Yeah, I think that's just the way how I was also taught hairdressing we had to educate.
A lot of hairdressers are like, all right, what do you want? All right, and they'll just do it.
Pretty much, bro. But
they'll just do it. They don't care how it looks because you asked, that's just what you asked for. Kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. And I think when I was taught by Tony and Guy, like it was more like an education. Every time we consultate our customer, it was really about learning about them. Yeah, because of their high-end game. Consultation's the key, man. If you never cut someone's hair if a consultation isn't right.
Okay, yeah.
You know, or I will start on a certain area where we agree on, and then when we disagree, I'm going to be like, okay, now think about it.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to attack this avenue.
Yeah.
You know, cutting hair is one thing. Becoming close to a person and gaining their trust is another.
It is.
And also...
Especially with hairdressers, because,
yeah, man.
like I said, no one likes to switch hair. Once they find that person, it's
a personal tailor.
Yeah, it is.
And it's also... They didn't tell me this in fucking hair school that you're a fucking counselor too. He's like, whoa. It's like, dude, like I've cut 10 people's hair today and I feel like I went through 10 different fucking life paths. And it's because you can just only be there and empathise with them.
It's strange you say that because it's almost like not a restart, but almost a restart, because once you walk out with a new haircut, it's like, oh, it's a brand new day.
100%. And like for us as well,
if it's
like,
a good haircut, that is.
Bro, we need to be on our game every day.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how...
I can't imagine having someone walk out with a fake smile like, oh, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, man.
Because I
fucked up some hair in my life, man. You have to, though.
You have to, of course.
You have to, man, because if you don't, you'll never
know.
You will never grow, and you have to take it like a grain of salt, a fucking smack to the chin, and be like, all right.
I guess that's why you
don't get too ego.
Set yourself a high standard.
You have to, man. Like
because you can ruin someone's day with a haircut.
Oh, for sure.
Someone's week.
Yep. I'd rather them coming back and be like, hey, man, can you take more off? Than opposed to, fuck, this guy fucked me. It's like, how do I wear this, G? Like, yeah. So
that's why I stuck with you. I mean, you don't cut my hair anymore, but you...
probably will soon.
Pass me on to Kalen.
Oh, hey, love it.
But, that's why I really stuck with you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. It's been a big journey for me.
It's great. It's good to hear.
And it's just, honestly, I'm just started because, to me, COVID... I want to also speak about COVID because it. Did
you open your store before COVID?
Yeah, I opened it in 2016.
Oh yeah, okay.
COVID was start of 2019, end of 2019.
Yeah. So you're gang, and it was running pretty good after that. Hey.
Well, we started the shop with no appointments because I wanted to make sure that for the area, because during the day it wasn't fucking no one here.
Yeah,
I wanted to make it look pumpy.
Yeah.
You know?
So just
no one's gonna walk into a shop when there's no one sitting around.
Yeah.
But that's what appointment does.
Yeah.
You know, it makes the shop look vacant.
Yep. So you just got... Oh, yeah. You used to have to write names on the board. I remember that, yeah.
So to me, it was also about running on time, teaching... Not running on time, but like building the guys' skills, because the guys I took on, they haven't worked in a salon before, you know?
Shit.
They haven't worked in a barber shop before, you know? Like, to me, it was like, all right, man, learn your craft.
So you took on apprentices?
I did, man. Yep, I took on craftsmen's. And everything was a slow training process, like the way how I did it. You had to master these haircuts in order to jump onto these haircuts.
Everything you learnt it helped you every way
in form. Yeah, 100%.
Like
I'm still learning now. Will always be learning.
I think that's the artist in you, because I think any artist, it's never good. Not never good enough, but there's always more.
Yeah, like people just
use pencil and it's like, what happens if I add paint? Oh shit, I have to add paint. This is a whole new level now.
Yeah.
And it just continues on.
It's just learning different, like if you could do one picture 10 different ways, man, like I think by that 10th way, you can move on to the next picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I feel like in the haircuts that we do, if you can do that haircut in 10 different ways and it looks the same, and it looks the same, yeah, all right, you can move on to the next, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do.
So that's a good way of challenging yourself.
Yeah.
And not get bored of your craft.
Yeah.
If you could do something 10 different ways and still have the same result, fucking oath.
Yeah. That too, I wanted to be a tattoo artist, but what turned me off was like I didn't want to do fucking dragons every fucking week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you want? A dragon? Another one.
Yeah. But you would have been a fucking king at that dragon, I reckon. but like, still though, like
you just want to branch out. You know?
I reckon tattooing for me was like the turn off was like the ego.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like
mine's better than yours.
Yeah, like like you work with a guy that's like, oh, why are you doing it like this? It's like, fuck off. You know, so like that's the same way I'll be like, not be like that to my guys in here. I'll be like, I teach you a way. And then I question, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You know, oh, that's fucking mad, bro. I want to try that.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like, you're
showing
like,
that I'm also learning off you.
100%. Hey, I'm only doing 60% of the job.
Yeah, yeah.
Me explaining it to you and then you explaining it back to me, I learn the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just my way of learning 10 different ways to do that
painting. Yeah, that
haircut.
picture. Yeah,
How the fuck am I going to learn that on my own?
Yeah.
You know, unless I give credit to the guys that I taught. And I feel like sometimes to be a great leader or a great mentor is to basically constantly learning from your students, because there's no master without a student, and vice versa, you know. So, and I condemn that to the guys that I always get to train, because they retrain me, they re-motivate me, and it's like, fuck, if they can do it better than me, then I'm fucked. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
But you know, it's always a friendly battle in the shop. You know, it's like, fuck it, you know, who does the best cuts in here?
Quickly. You said something about COVID. Quickly go through that.
So COVID, you know, for a lot of like the artists, when it deals. So we hairdressers and tattoo artists are probably the only people that actually can get close to a person besides the doctor.
Oh yeah.
And a dentist. Yeah. So our line of work, we don't get paid like those guys.
Yeah, but
we're probably like that close to them.
Yeah,
like
customers.
They will tell us shit that fucking, they wouldn't even tell their mates or their wives or husbands or whatever. Yeah. And you feel like, fuck, you know, like being caught up in a divorce between your customers is fuck, that's fucked up, man. It's like, what do you do?
Right.
I get the shakes too when I'm cutting hair, because it's like, hey man, like this happened, that happened. And it's just like, fuck, man, I can't leave that at work. But COVID for me, we couldn't work.
It was on
and I wasn't
off.
gonna, man. I was getting hit up, man. I'll give you some money to come, like
come
$200
to my garage.
Nah, fuck that, bro. Like I was, my mum prior suffered really like permanent lung damage from asthma storm. So
fuck. So
I wasn't gonna,
you weren't gonna risk it.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
But that whole experience, starting, was like intense, because it was like restarting a business 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah.
And I've never worked so hard in my life. Like everyone was relying on me because...
So open the store?
Well, like my workers didn't want to do full time.
Yeah.
But they still got paid.
Okay.
You know, but that was the start of COVID, where you had to pay them, and then you slowly got it back from the government. Okay, depending on how much you make. So that was a fucking... And then so I was in there on my own, you know, and I was like, fuck, like, it's so lonely in the shop. I'm so used to having people around. And it made me realize I don't want to work on my own. You know, that this
so
is...
So you just kind of realize, like, it's more than just me coming in the store, cutting hair.
100%.
It's like, I need to socialise. I need to
learn off the guys, because... But then during COVID, we were still studying about hair and art. I was, you know, every week we would learn about a certain decade. There was like...
Decade of hair styles?
Yeah, pretty much. So there were like the 50s, the 20s, the 10s, you know, all the way through to modern day now. So, and that kind of gave everyone a huge stepping stone of knowing what is what and where is where.
Yeah, okay.
What era, what haircut fits into what era.
Oh, so you gave the guys kind of homework?
100%, bro.
Oh, shit.
And then they had to tell me what they liked about that, and then we learned how to do that haircut through Zoom. I would have my dummy head, and I'll go through that, and I'll teach. But that taught me, knowing now I know a whole 100 years of haircuts.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? And knowing I could cut a hairstyle for a 50-year-old or for an 80-year-old or for a 20-year-old, you know? So it opened my palette.
Fuck, that's... To give you guys homework over COVID, it's a whole new level.
You have to, bro.
A whole new level.
And it taught us...
What made you think of that?
Because
I don't consider that normal.
Nah, because we do training in the shop.
Oh, you do? Oh, even before COVID, you still did.
Yeah. We still trained for the shop.
Yep.
So I still kept training on.
Yep.
But because we couldn't cut hair,
you don't treat this as work. That's what it is. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just think like hairdressers, barbers, they come in, they clock on like a normal job and clock off. But how you've presented yourself, it's more than just cutting hair.
Yeah,
eh?
it's definitely, man. It's learning how to
not,
be an artist.
yeah, it's
man.
not about how much you make or who you're styling. It's what you can get out of it, kind of thing.
Pretty much, bro. Like I don't cut any famous people. I don't give a fuck. Actually.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Like
but
I'm here more for the standard people because they're the real fame for me,
Yeah.
man. Like making someone look beautiful that they
Yeah,
consider
yeah.
themselves as an average person is more than enough. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's
Like-
what makes a lot of sense because all the other stuff that you didn't choose to do was like you didn't go for the easy route because you wanted to be the best. Well, not the best, but you wanted to learn
Yeah, man.
and you wanted to teach.
And
It wasn't too much of a. Oh, I'm trying to get 50 haircuts today so I can get
pretty much.
$500.
Yeah, but do you know what it is too, man? It's the fact that I can do art every 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's different every time, and it's so rewarding in that sense.
You found your art outlet.
Pretty much, and I'm still craving for more outlets because during lockdown, I was like, fuck, what am I going to teach the guys? I'm like, what I know best is art. So I trace back to the history of art, the Renaissance, and then I learned how
That
to.
is pretty fucking cool.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they learned about the Renaissance,
It's
and they
pretty
learned
fucking
about
cool.
how to turn.
Because I can't imagine any barbers doing that.
I can't imagine.
Or any hairdressers. Or even a standard workplace
Yeah,
would do that for their guys or even think of something like that.
I think so as well, man. You know, so and that's what I was because I was always if you're gonna learn or if you're gonna create a haircut, you need to tell them about your inspiration.
Yeah.
So for me,
So it's
I
not
was
just like a stencil. It's
pretty
more
much,
than-
bro. Yeah. And just learning a technique. How we can?
So
how do you just talk about a technique? It's
That's
like
very
well,
an artist of you to do.
oh, thanks, man. Well, that's all I know, you know. So even down with fading, bro, like we
Yeah.
wanted to make it more like Da Vinci style paintings because
Yeah.
there's no lines in Da Vinci's paintings.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
I get it.
recognizable,
Yeah,
you know.
I get it.
And if there was lines, it was only at the lines where the focal point of the eye would draw. You know, that's the same thing with
Yeah.
outlines and haircuts to putting the white,
Oh, it's
the
so good.
skin needs to
Yeah,
be
it's
here.
good. It's good as.
So it just changed, and it just really opened up the guys' dynamics of like, I'm not teaching you how to cut hair. You know how to cut hair.
Yeah.
I'm teaching you how to think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you know how
And
to,
it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, bro. Talk about what you're like, how to turn your passion into what you do every day.
Yeah, it's
That's only a way to become great, man. Like, you know, you watch all these Japanese guys, they dedicate 50 to 60 years of their life. And at that point, they're like, I'm just scraping through the surface. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you're about to die there, brother. Like, but they're fucking amazing, bro. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do
yeah.
it. They do 1,000 of these fucking whatever they're doing, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
and then they fucking shut up shop. They're like, nah, you know. But they're a master in their craft for a reason because
Yeah,
they truly believe that it just takes a lifetime
yeah.
to
'Cause
become.
you can't stop learning.
You can't, bro.
You can't stop learning.
You can't, man, because every day is different, and you know, and what drives me every day is my customers. You know, just like fuck, like some days it might be a little bit off, man. I'm just a human being.
Yeah.
But the off days are meant to make the good days better.
Yeah.
It's like fucking.
Because if you
hard.
can do something nice, in an
Imagine
off day,
someone kissing your ass all the time. It's like fuck, you're not gonna want to come to work.
Yeah.
Do you know?
100%.
It's like, hey man, hey, you fucked up. I'm like, do you know what, bro? Come back the next day, bro. I'll fix it up. It's like, oh shit! I just
Yeah, I get it.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
And then, in order to learn different styles, I had to
Fuck shit up.
go in during lockdown. I had to paint.
Yeah.
And then I painted all these pictures. I learned about all these grandmasters because I wanted to feel what it felt like to be in their shoes. And then I had all these paintings, and then fucking lockdown finished, and I brought it to the shop. I'm like, I just hung it. And dudes were like, fuck, man, is that yours? I'm like, yeah. They're like, bro, like, can I buy that? I'm like, fuck. I guess so. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was selling paintings.
That's what I wanted when I was doing paintings too. Just to paint.
Yeah.
And then someone goes,
Is that for sale?
oh, is that for sale?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, take it.
Yeah,
Instead of-
yeah. I gave a lot of it away first at the
Yeah.
start because I was like this full thing about like, oh man,
He
doesn't know what?
I just
Like,
did that on my off day.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like the real meaning behind that is when it's for free, it means more. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
if it
yeah,
means
yeah,
more.
yeah.
But it just got to the point where I'm like, hey man, like fuck, like I would restore art. So I would go on my walks when you only allowed like an hour
Yeah, yeah.
out of your house. and people were renovating their shit, yeah, like their homes. And they were throwing away all these old frames and artworks and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, man, I like that shape of that frame. I used to come home and I had like garage full of all these old paintings and stuff. And then I started gessoing the front. I worked with the painter. So whoever was painting that, I'll put my twist towards the corner.
Yeah.
And I merged that into the painting. So, and it just became, because it's not just my painting, bro. It's
theirs too.
It's theirs too.
Originally,
so I would put up the shop and they were like, fuck, did you paint that? I'm like, yeah, I used the reference behind it and I learnt about it and I became my own way. They're like, can I buy that? I'm like, yeah, man, $20.
Yeah.
They're like, why the fuck is that so cheap? It's like, because someone threw it away. I shouldn't even be fucking selling this.
Yeah. It's weird trying to sell art. It's a weird...
It's because you can't put a price on it, yeah?
No.
And it was like, whoa, that's a fucking lot. Or it's like,
Yeah.
like, why is it too cheap? I'm like, because... Honestly, like, I'm just learning, you know.
Yeah, it's like, it's only art. You rather have your art in someone's house and go, look, who did that? It's like, oh, Kenny did that.
Exactly. It's a
more than
timeless thing.
that's a priceless thing.
You know, it's such a timeless thing. And then it got to the point where, like, fuck, like, everything was getting sold. Like, everything was off the wall. I'm like, oh, man, like, I can't do this anymore because it's like, I can't let go.
Yeah.
It's like, and if I did let it go, I had to let it go to the right person because it's like, can I see that again at least once in my lifetime again? Because it's like, bro, selling your art's like selling your kid.
It is.
To anyone out there that doesn't understand the metaphor.
I do understand that.
Like, it's so hard to sell away.
It wasn't just me fucking around. It's like I put time, effort, emotions into it.
Exactly. Or like, it's like selling your pet. It's just hard. It's just, but you know, and then I just got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I got to stop doing this because it's like, I'm not doing it
for yourself anymore.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's like,
now
I'm just becoming that fucking
production
sellout.
Company.
Yeah, it's like, nah, can't do it. I'm
get
gonna keep it to myself. But then lucky now there's an art studio just across the road, so I can just put it in there
and let it
do its thing.
Yeah.
And then like get them to value it because that's pretty much what they do as an art shop.
Yeah.
Instead of me being here, it's like, man, I know that was more than
$20,
but that's at least $200 there, brother, you know?
Yeah,
but it's just like, you're in your shop and it's just like, I don't want to be known as a guy that just sells fucking art and whatever, you know? But
so you want to kind of keep it separate.
Yeah, in a way,
but it's good.
But it's such a beautiful thing. COVID allowed that to happen for me and allowed to teach whoever was in the shop at that time. They got something out of it and they learned how to think. So
right, it's good.
You know, and I'm going to keep doing what I do, man, and that's pretty much...
I hope so. I need someone to cut my hair, Kenny.
100%, you know, 100%. It's been a good journey so far. I'm very grateful. I've met some amazing people. I'm so super grateful that, you know, people see my potential and, you know, supported me the whole way.
Yeah.
Like, everyone that walks through this store, everyone that I've came across have supported me some way or what. They're beautiful personality to them offering.
Well, I guess that's what I've taken. That you're always willing to learn off anything and everyone.
100%. Whatever I'm into.
Yeah.
If I'm not into it, I'm not gonna. I feel like that's
fair.
100%.
Well, fuck, it's been great talking to you, Kenny.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Sorry if I bet myself around the corner a little bit, but fuck, I just felt.
It's my podcast, man. I can do what the fuck I want.
Dude, it's such a privilege because, like, I would love to, you know, fucking be on this again because it's this is awesome.
I am gonna think about it because all my guests after we're done, they're like, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. I wish I could go back and say that. So I might do a part 2 with a lot of our guests or a review.
Yeah, sure.
A short review. So
yeah, 100%. I'm just.
But thanks for coming on.
Do you know what? 100%. I've been doing hair for like.
Forever.
15, half my life basically.
Yeah.
And I've never really able to talk about me.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I've had snippets of people like, oh man, how'd you start? Or like, what's up?
But you only got 40 minutes because you're cutting hair.
100%. You got to cut that down to like 10 minutes because it's like all the rest is like you got to concentrate. And then there's times where I talk about myself a little bit too much where I've been around in circles. But it's just really nice to open up and,
man.
And hopefully I speak this for a lot of hairdressers out there that's been through my journey. I think you're going to speak
to not just hairdressers, but a lot of even artists, anything, really.
That is, it's a hard world out there, but you know what? Keep true to yourself and great things will come.
Yeah.
You know, just never forget where you come from.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hold everyone that supported me dearly too.
There's something that always comes up when I do this. It's like opportunities come at you almost every day, every hour. You just got to recognize it.
100%.
If it's a good one or bad one, make sure you just take it and fucking go for it.
Let the wave ride.
Ride the wave.
Thank you, man. And thank you for supporting us too, man. I really appreciate that.
Always.
And thank you for everybody for listening. And
I've got one question.
Sure.
Before we leave, if this pay rate was the same, I know pay is not really your thing, but if the pay rate was the same, would you rather be an employee or an employer? Would you rather be the boss or the guy that comes in and clocks in?
Do you know what, man? I ask myself this every day.
Oh, really?
Yep.
If the pay was the same?
Yep. I feel like as where we are now, me being on the other side instead of like answering your question, I'm just grateful to be where I am now because I never did it for the pay. Yeah, and I still don't do it for the pay. It's such a hard question, but I just want to be a student at this craft. That's as much as I want to say.
Yeah.
But
a learner.
100%, man. Like, man, we pay the government to be where we are, so we're always paying, I think.
Very true.
Like, darn you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so people think that, like, you know, like when you pay for someone's haircut, like, you know, 30% of that goes to the government. Just remember that. 30% of that pay goes to the government. So it's like that guy that's fucking working his ass off to make you look good so you can get lucky that night. Yeah. Shit. Remember, 30% of that goes to the government. That's it. Oh my man. Well,
Kenny, thank you very much for coming on, Kenny.
I love you, my brother.
I love you too,
so
bro.
Much, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. If you want to come get your hair cut, it's Blunt Barbers, West Footscray. You find it on Insta or whatever. Thank you, guys. Come along. So,
cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Kenny.
Thank you so much. Ta.
Whole squad be urchin. I put the work in, whole squad be urchin.